And guess what? She left me on red after that. I felt all kinds of emotions. Woo! I was hurt. I felt like I was betrayed. I felt like I was stepped on. I felt like my heart was cut out of my chest and just thrown away like garbage. I felt like my self-worth was very low. I felt insecure. I felt confused. I felt anxious. All those emotions I felt. So when I was 25, I had gone through my very first and last heartbreak ever. It changed my life, it shifted my perspective, it knocked me down, but thankfully it did all those things for the better. At that time, I had been hurt by women before, but not to the point where I was heartbroken. This one was really tough. So let me give you guys a bit of a backstory. I had been in a relationship with this girl for about 5 months, which I know is not a lot of time, but here's what happened. I got to know her. I got to know about her likes, her dislikes, her communication style, how she is as a person. And what I really liked about her was at first, we shared a lot of the same personality traits, similar interests, similar communication styles. It looked like she was very emotionally mature. And obviously, yes, there was attraction, but those things kind of really pulled me in. So when I saw those things, that's what really attracted her to me. She was spontaneous, she was lively, she would crack jokes just like me. She knew when to be serious, she knew when to be playful. And here's where the problem was. The problem was that at first, all those things were happening, but then around month number 2 or month number 3, things started to decline. I started to see more of a pullback from her end. She started to get more and more busy with school, or so that's what she told me, because mind you, she was a physical therapy student, and I know it's a very tough program, but that's what happened. And also at the same time, this was her very first relationship. She had no prior relationship experiences. She got to know this one guy, yes, but she had no legitimate relationship experience. And then when I started feeling this pullback from her, I started feeling at my gut that just something is not right. Something just isn't adding up. Even though on paper, she says she's busy, which she is, I'm sure, because of physical therapy school, it's not simple. But my heart just wasn't fully believing in it. Something in my gut. You know when you have something in your gut that's just telling you something's wrong? That's exactly what I felt with her. Not only was there not much enthusiasm, but it was always me who was reaching out to her. And every time we would meet, I was the one who always went to her all the way in Philadelphia. Keep in mind, I'm in New York. She's all the way in Philadelphia. A 3-hour drive each way, which is definitely not easy. And I also didn't see much of appreciation from her end towards me about going to see her, about making time to see her, thanking me so much for the time. Although she kind of liked me and I kind of got that from her, there was a little bit of flirtation, a little bit of positivity from her own end to me. It just didn't fill my cup. It didn't feel right. And I would only see her about 1 time every single month. Can you imagine this? Once a month, driving 3 hours each way, and only spending about 2-3 hours. And after all that, not even thanking me by the time I get home. Oh my goodness, you didn't have to drive all the way there. Let's meet halfway, let's do this, let's do that. I got none of that. She never really showed much of a concern or complained that we don't spend much time together, that I only get to see her once a month. Internally, on an internal level, that just felt kind of weird. I just wasn't able to swallow it. My problem was that I hadn't confronted her about these feelings that I have, that I feel like she's distant towards me, that something's bothering her about me, or maybe she's not feeling super in this relationship as much as she should be. Here she was, sometimes showing tons of interest and lots of times pulling back, and sometimes showing tons of interest and lots of times pulling back. The reason why I wasn't able to confront her was because in the back of my mind, I knew that she had the excuse, which she told me millions of times, because of exams and this and that. It's not that I was complaining, but she just naturally told me that she's very busy with exams and with studying, that I knew that she was going to use that as leverage and as an excuse because it's legitimate to get me to believe it. So here I was, torn between 2 decisions, or torn between 2 different mindsets. Should I just leave this relationship and look for what's best for me because I deserve better treatment than this and I'm not really happy with her? That's me on one hand. And on the other hand, I really like her and I'm too afraid of losing her. And I really have this image of who she is when we first started dating, when we first started talking, of a person who's spontaneous, fun, emotionally mature, good communication skills, warm, affectionate, all these things. So I didn't want to lose that ideology, that mindset, that attachment to that mindset that I had of her. And that part of me that was questioning whether or not she's a good fit for me was too tough for me to even grasp, too difficult for me to swallow. That it's almost as though I just pushed that idea to the side as though it wasn't true, even though it was very likely at that time that she's not a good fit for me, and maybe it's best if we both found other people and worked on something else. Now, mind you, this is a girl who came from Egypt at the age of 13, and I was born and raised here mostly. I was raised both here in Egypt, but I was mainly raised here from a young age up until I was 11 years old. So obviously there's a bit of a cultural difference going on. But here's what ended up happening. As you know, as I was telling you earlier, there was, a decline in her level of attention and energy and just showing me interest throughout the months. So finally, one time when we were FaceTiming, because we were FaceTiming a lot, like on average a couple of times a week for a couple of hours each time, one time when I finally confronted her, I finally was able to get it out of her after the FaceTime call. I was just telling her, I feel like something is off. I feel like, your energy is off. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just busy with exams. Are you sure that's what it is? Yeah, I'm sure, blah, blah, blah. So there's nothing bothering you. There's nothing you're feeling off about. Yeah, I'm sure. Why? No, I sense it. No, okay. After, I kept trying to probe, eventually you're not just gonna keep probing if you're not getting an answer. So I just let it go. Shortly after the FaceTime call, she starts to let everything out. I just find it weird how you want to meet me halfway. Well, I'm not the kind of woman you would worry about. You want me to meet you halfway when my parents aren't cool with that, because, mind you, we were 3 hours each way drive, so I think it only makes sense to meet me halfway so that it's easier for both of us. Oh, there were times where we were walking in the street and I was walking on the side that's next to the street, and then you were walking on the inside. To the best of my knowledge, I don't even remember that happening many times, but I'm sure maybe because she said that was a concern of hers. Yes. Another thing was, there was this one time where I was out with my PT class where we went out for bowling after a final, and then you didn't even have concern about the fact that I was coming home late. And I was just like, yeah, because you're with your friends from PT school. You're in a safe environment. You went with 20 other people, guys and girls, after a major exam. I'm not just gonna be like, you have to be home by a certain time. I'm not your dad, and we're not together in the sense that you're not my wife yet. So why would I say these things? You make weird comments, because sometimes I would comment on her body in a positive way, because in my eyes, this is the woman who's gonna become my wife. So of course, I'm gonna flirt with her in that way. But she just wasn't used to that. So long story short, it was very obvious that we had some big differences in the way we process things and in the way we value certain things. But when we talked about it, we were able to come to the conclusion that, look, here's what I told her. I'm really into you. I really want to continue this relationship, and I really, really like you, and I see a future with you. But she was the one who was hesitant about it. So she was just like, I need my space. I was like, take your time and think about it. Whether yes or no, let me know. It took her 3 days, and then she was just like, I thought about the whole idea and I decided not to end the relationship. I'd like to continue with you. And obviously during those 3 days, I was an anxious mess and I wanted to fucking bite off all my fingernails. But thankfully, she wanted to continue, or she said she wanted to continue. And things were good for another couple weeks. But guess what happened after the other couple weeks? The same shit happened over and over again. She started becoming more distant and then showing interest again, showing distant, showing interest again, becoming distant, showing interest again. And so what ended up happening was, thankfully, we met in person. It wasn't even specifically to talk about this, but I had thought it was gonna come up anyways. We met in person, and during that meeting, I just felt like something was off before I even met her physically. Like even on the phone, when she knew that I was like an hour away, you could just tell in her tonality, something is wrong, something is off. So we met in person. I had just graduated at that time, so she was, it was nice of her to bring me a graduation gift, which was a watch. I appreciated that a lot. So we're talking for a few, having regular conversation, just chatting. We end up sitting down on a bench. She was like, you don't notice anything off? I was like, not really, not particularly. Why? Is there something off? She's like, yes. She finally opens up. We're sitting down on a bench, and she immediately starts crying. I'm backing off from you, and I don't know why. I don't know why I'm backing off from you, but I'm backing off from you. It feels weird. I'm like, listen, if you're having all this resistance about the relationship, let's just end it. If you're not in it, let's just end it. Maybe it's best for both of us. No, I don't want to end it. I don't want to end it. But maybe you're backing off from me just like you did last time, which you took a few days. Maybe you're just not really into this and you're trying to convince yourself to be into this. No, it's not true. No. I don't see that. I'm just backing off for you, but I don't know why. And then several times, I swear to God, during that day when we met, several times I'm just like, let's just go our separate ways if that's how you see it. If you really don't want me, that's no problem. I'm not gonna take it personally, but it is what it is. That's how you're feeling. No, blah, blah, blah. You're holding my hand in the car. Why is it like this? It's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be much easier than this. I was like, I know, it is supposed to be much easier. Long story short, after a couple of hours of talking, I dropped her off and we just came to the conclusion that, we'll continue and just see what happens. So at that exact moment, I was convinced, or at least partially convinced, or at least trying to convince myself. But I'm driving home, and as I'm driving home, and as the miles, are like adding up, and as I'm getting closer to home, I'm thinking, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. She's saying she doesn't want to end it, but her behaviors are showing the complete opposite. It looks to me that we don't have the same values. Maybe, sure, she kind of likes me, but definitely not enough to be in a relationship with me. And so, as I finally got home, she didn't even say anything like, did you get home safely? I'm so happy you listened to me. Thank you so much for understanding me. I'm so sorry for putting you through this. She did none of that. She didn't even check if I got home safely. I'm the one who texted that I got home safely, and then I texted her something along the lines of, hey, it looks like you were happier towards the end. Stupid me, I should not have said something like this. It looks like you were relieved. I hope you were relieved, and I'm definitely interested in continuing this. That's a huge mistake on my part. But then later I was just like, yeah, I just want to see more effort from you if you're gonna take this seriously, blah, 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 blah. And then the very next day, she was just like, I'm so scared of hurting you and I don't feel like this is fair. And then I told her something along the lines of, I need actions and not words. I want to see that you actually give a shit about me. I want to see that you're actually not a selfish person, blah, 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 a couple more things. And she was like, I'm not selfish. You might think I am, but I'm not. I know it's hard for you, and that's exactly why I don't want to do this anymore, blah, blah, blah. And then at the same, as she sent that text, I agreed with her. And then I was just like, yep. And I was thinking the same thing. You and I are no longer together anymore. I don't feel comfortable being in this position. And this doesn't feel good to me. It doesn't feel good that I forgot exactly what I said, but basically I ended it. We both basically ended it. I basically ended it as a reaction to her, basically. So basically I was technically the one who was broken up with, even though I'm the one who quote unquote did the breakup, but technically I'm the one who was broken up with. And guess what? She left me on red after that. I felt all kinds of emotions. Woo! I was hurt. I felt like I was betrayed. I felt like I was stepped on. I felt like my heart was cut out of my chest and just thrown away like garbage. I felt like my self-worth was very low. I felt insecure. I felt confused. I felt anxious. All those emotions I felt. Now, despite how difficult it was to end that relationship with that girl who I really liked and I was really attached to, I don't even know why I was, but it was because of my insecurities, most likely. It took me months to get over her, but there was a blessing in the end. It taught me so fucking much about relationships and about self-respect and about watching people's actions, not their words, and about respecting yourself and valuing yourself, even when it's very difficult. And that's the best thing about that breakup. The bad thing is that it happened and it sucked and it made me feel all these feelings of self-doubt and all the ones that I just discussed with you. But the good thing is the lessons that I'm about to go over with you right now. First lesson, see people as they are, not as you want them to be. At the end of the day, when you become fantasized about this person and you're romanticizing and fantasizing about them in your head, about that first couple of months or even first couple of weeks that you met them, and you put them in this good box and you think they're gonna be in that box forever, that's not who they are. That's your projections and your fantasies about them, which is your fault. Who they are is who they are. Stop seeing them as better or as worse than they are. Just see them as they are. That was my mistake. I didn't do that. I still saw her boxed in my head as this person who is so lively, emotionally mature, all these things, blah, 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 attractive, in good shape, educated. But her actions proved otherwise. If she was emotionally mature, she would have communicated about the problems that were bothering her without me having to probe a million times. But she didn't. Number two, you always look at a woman's actions, not her words. A woman could tell you a million times, I love you so much, I want you so much, I want you to be my husband, I want this, I want that. I love you, I love spending time with you, but blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, if her actions don't prove that, she's not supposed to be yours. She's not worth it. If she keeps making excuses about exams, which yes, exams are valid, but if it's a repetitive thing and she's not making time for you, she just doesn't feel you as much, bro. I'm sorry. Her actions are what are going to prove if she really likes you or not her words. Number three, you have to check if they are consistently reciprocating the effort and attention to you that you give to them. If you're always showering them with texts, showering them with affection, which is what I did, which is very stupid of me at the time. I should have, made it nice and balanced, but I didn't. Why? Because my excuse was that, oh, she has no experience in relationships and she's scared, so I should give her that extra assurance for proof that I'm really into it. No, that's not right. Even in the exception that they don't have experience, you still don't do that because you're lowering your value. You give them that attention when they earn it. When she earns it, you give her that attention, that effort, not when she doesn't earn it. And that was my mistake. I was giving way much more than I was getting. I was way more into the relationship than her. And that is probably one of the reasons why she was turned off. Number 4, never blame the circumstances on the actions of someone you're interested in. If they feel you and they're really into you, no circumstances are going to be enough to make them not interested in you. If someone's really interested in you, they're not gonna make circumstances an excuse as to why they're not reaching out and not connecting. Sure, they might do that for a day or two if it's like crazy exams going on, but they're not gonna be consistently like that unless something crazy chaotic is going on in their life, or for a couple of days, crazy exams. Anything that is not that, they're not really gonna do that to you. Instead, they're gonna give you all the effort that you deserve because they're really, really into you and they really want to reach out to you. You're not gonna have to sit there scratching your head and second guessing whether they actually like you or not. Number 5, keep your options open and never settle with a woman unless she is making you happy in all the ways that you need to be happy and you feel appreciated and you feel like you are really valued. If you don't feel those things, move on to the next immediately, like that. You have to keep your options open, and this is not about dumping and just using women for attention, but at the end of the day, if you see that a woman that you're really interested in is not reciprocating towards you, like sure, after the first couple of dates, you're the one who, typically is the one to initiate and make the plans, the first couple of dates, the first couple of, let's say, weeks of talking, but afterwards, if you're not seeing that reciprocation, don't reciprocate or don't keep initiating. They're not reciprocating towards you. And they're not making you happy in the relationship. They're always making you feel anxious. They're always making you feel like something is lacking. They're not making you feel like you are valued. They're making you feel like they kind of like you, but they don't really like you. Don't accept that for yourself, bro. You have to accept king treatment, high level treatment. And the only way you're gonna get that is by focusing on yourself and making yourself a high value person, which I have a course that will link in the description for you. And I highly recommend you purchase that course because it will benefit you a lot in terms of increasing your own value and being able to improve yourself with women as a whole, as a package. Trust me, man, you will not regret it. So at the end of the day, man, women who value you are going to treat you like they value you. They're not gonna keep making excuses. You're not gonna have to keep second guessing yourself. And if she's not making happy, don't be in a relationship with her. A lot of guys, like myself at the time, make the mistake of thinking, oh, once I'm in a relationship with her, she's gonna make me happy. No, that's such backwards and dumb thinking. You see if she's making you happy, and then based upon that, you elevate the status of the relationship to an actual serious relationship instead of just a casual one. If she's not making you happy, she doesn't earn that title. She doesn't earn that status. She doesn't earn that effort from you. So once again, keep your options open and do not settle with a woman unless she is starting to give you those things. So yeah, man, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. What you can gain from this is start to value yourself, man. Start to value your own time and energy and effort. Put your effort towards the things that are actually giving you the results that you want in life or are going to long-term give you the results that you want in life. Work on yourself. Value the people who value you. Don't just value anybody. And your attention should be earned, not given. Look at a woman's actions and not her words. And anytime you start seeing yourself making a bunch of excuses for a woman's behavior, know that it's either time to walk away or it's very soon time to walk away. And have more of an abundance mindset instead of a scarcity mindset where you're just latched onto one girl, which you should not think in terms of just one itis or just one girl until you find that girl who's proving herself to you to be that good of an option to the point where you don't want anyone else. Besides that, keep your options open and continue working on yourself, bro. You will definitely not forget it. I hope this video benefited you a lot. Peace.